Pregame.com.
Thursday night, TNT action, but that's not the games we're covering. We're going to go to Portland, where the Hornets will be visiting. We projected the line around 9.5. You said, Brian? You're much better at projecting than I am.
I think it'll be 9.5. 9's probably.
Okay. I made my true line 6.5. I think that's what the number should be, the real power rating. And I'm hoping it comes out 9 or even higher, because I like this Hornets team on the road. As bad as they've been, 12-37 overall for the season, 7-16 on the road, they're one of the best covering teams on the road. And the reason they're 15-8 against the spread outside of New Orleans is because they just get the inflated price all the time, I think. Where, you see they're only 7-16 on the road, so they're not winning these games. But the reverse is true against the spread, which tells me that even if they're not competitive, they're just getting way too many points. And I think since these two teams already played earlier this month and Portland beat them by 12, even though that was with Gerald Wallace, I think this line gets close to double digits. And I don't think that's the right side. I think New Orleans will show up and they'll be able to keep it close. Portland, to me, is one of these teams that you got to be careful at the end. At home, they're dangerous because they're still motivated. You're going to be motivated because of your home crowd and you want to defend your home, especially at the Rose Garden where they're just have a great home edge. I mean, this team's 16-8 there. And when you're 23-26 on the season, but you win 76% of your home games, that's a huge home edge. It's bigger home edge than if, you were the same overall at home as you are overall, same winning percentage. Like New Orleans, who's 12-37 overall, 7-16 or whatever they are, 5-20 at home. That's no home court edge to me. But Portland on the other side, that's a huge home edge, being 16-8 at home. So that's the thing that scares me, that you'll get a motivated team. But as the season progresses and they know they're not going to make the playoffs, coming in, this is a team who is expected to compete. Aldridge, Felton, Crawford. I mean, this is a team that was built to at least get to the playoffs. And now that dream's pretty much going to be lost over these next couple weeks. So I think the line's going to come out too high. I got to like the Hornets.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. And you made a great point about talking about the difference between a team's straight-up record and their point spread record. A lot of guys will look when they're doing the power ratings, and if they're trying to start off power ratings, they'll go by the team's straight-up record. Just because you lose straight up doesn't mean you're not a good team to bet on. I mean, you show a lot of heart and you're in these games. You just don't have the ability
to close it.
And that's the situation for New Orleans. They're in just about every game they play. And because the opponents are taking a look at them and they see their record and they say, we've got an easy time, they take it easy on them, which makes it easier for New Orleans to cover. And every team has got a certain role they're good in. And you touched on it, New Orleans. I've got New Orleans 15-7 as a road dog. And you did point about Portland at home. Portland's 13-7 against the spread at home as a home favorite, but since they made the trade, since they made the coaching change, they're 0-2 in that regard. So you have to throw that other stuff out and take a look at how they are now with the players they have today. And I like the situation here also for New Orleans, because if you're Portland, you've already beaten New Orleans 3 times. You beat them pretty handily 3 times. You beat them by 7, you beat them by 8, you beat them by 10. We're taping this game on Tuesday. The game's being played on Thursday. When they play on Wednesday, they're playing Oklahoma City. They got double revenge against Oklahoma City, and after they play New Orleans, then they play the LA Clippers. They've got home loss revenge to the LA Clippers. So this is a sandwich game right here for Portland, a sandwich game on a team who's living off a reputation because, while they won those other games 7, 8, and 10 before, this is not the same Portland team. This team is not. They're not very good. It's better off if Portland doesn't make the playoffs, to be honest, for the people for Portland right here, to get in the lottery and get a chance to get a good player. Hopefully they don't draft Odom or something. Or Ohio State centers or whatever they happen to take this time. But, it's a situation here. I was surprised Portland took money against Golden State. I couldn't understand that. I know Golden State had some injuries, but that line really shot up, and I had already liked Golden State before, and I didn't put it out. And then I had to question myself because the line was being bet the opposite way. And then Portland struggles to even win that game. I don't think Portland's very good at this point. They do have a great home field advantage, home court advantage. But right now, if the line comes out anywhere near the 9 that I'm thinking right now, that we're going to get here with New Orleans, I've got to take the dog.
I totally agree. I like New Orleans in this spot. If this team had offense, and you can't blame them, they lost Eric Gordon for the season, or he's coming back late March, they're saying now. Okafor's been hurt. Kamen's pretty much inconsistent. He's got the flu one day. He's banged up the next day. So they have no offense. But defensively, they're 10th in points allowed. When you don't allow a lot of points and you're catching points, you're going to cover some numbers. And as long as this team continues to play defense and they're getting big spreads, there's no reason not to back them, whether they're at home or whether they're on the road. On the flip side, Portland, 15th in the NBA, points scored, 15 points allowed. This is a mediocre team at best. Again, if they're playing a good team at home, I expect them to come out motivated, and that's when I want to back them. But when they're playing a bad team like New Orleans at home and they're not in playoff contention, it's not a time I want to be back in Portland. So I agree with Brian on his pick on the Hornets. I like New Orleans. We're hoping this line comes out around 9, and then we got to play. So take the Hornets on Thursday. We'll be back to cover another big game, Dallas-Orlando, on Friday night.